Today's video is brought to you by Card Kingdom, and right now you can get this sweet Scoop Soldier sticker when you order over at cardkingdom.com. Just mention in your order notes that you want a Scoop Soldier sticker when you go to checkout. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So as you know, Thursday means it's Fishbowl Thursday here in Instant Deck Tech Land, and we have a spicy standard list to look at today. This is Rampaging Storm Herald, and it comes to us from Per Larson, so thanks to Per Larson for sending in a really sweet deck. And a quick reminder before we break down Rampaging Storm Herald for Standard. If you would like your own deck considered for a future Fishbowl Thursday, make sure to leave a link in the comments, or you can email me, saffron@MTGGoldfish.com. So let's talk Rampaging Storm Herald for Standard, and this deck is pretty sweet. This deck is built around Storm Herald. So Storm Herald is this weird 3-drop. It's 3 mana, you get a 3/2 with haste. When it comes into play, you can put any number of auras from your graveyard onto the battlefield attached to it, and then those auras go away at the end of turn. But the idea is you can play Storm Herald, get back a ton of auras on the Storm Herald, swing in with the Storm Herald, and just kill your opponent in one big attack. So how do we go about making this Storm Herald theme work? Well, first off, we need a bunch of auras. That's pretty obvious. We have Escape Velocity, kind of a nice aura in the sense that we can escape it back from the graveyard if we want to. So it works kind of like Storm Herald even without Storm Herald, in that we can keep getting it back from the graveyard, and then it gives a creature +1/+0 in haste, which is nice with our other creatures. Storm Herald herself already has haste, but throwing it on some of our other dorks can allow us to get in a big attack. Cetacid Training, really sweet with Storm Herald, giving it trample, so if we can make it really huge, we don't have to worry about our opponent having chump blockers, plus it draws us a card when it comes into play. So worst case, maybe we can't build a lethal Storm Herald. We can get a bunch of Cetacid Trainings into play, draw 3 or 4 cards, refuel our hand, and kind of set up for the long game that way. So these are kind of our utility auras. Then we have our big payoff auras. So our biggest baddest aura is Mantle of the Wolf. Mantle of the Wolf comes into play, gives a creature +4/+4, and then if it goes to the graveyard from the battlefield, we get a couple of wolf tokens. A little bit awkward with Storm Herald itself because it'll go to exile once we reanimate it with Storm Herald so we don't get the wolves, but we have some tricks to get around that. But basically, Mantle of the Wolf just makes Storm Herald massive. We're trying to get this up to close to 20 power so we can kill our opponent. And then Iroas' Blessing only gives our creature +1/+1, but it deals 4 damage to a creature or planeswalker when it comes into play, so we can snipe a blocker out of the way, grow our Storm Herald a little bit, clear the way for our big lethal attack. So those are the auras that we're trying to get back with Storm Herald. To stock the graveyard for Storm Herald, we have Merchant of the Veil, Thrill of Possibility. These are cards that just let us rummage. Merchant of the Veil, we can cast Haggle Mode to just discard a card, draw a card, get our Mantle of the Wolf or whatever aura in the graveyard. Thrill of Possibility discards a card to draw us 2 cards, so another way to stock our graveyard with our auras to set up our Storm Herald. But really, we're not super concerned about stocking our graveyard, because what we often want to do with this deck is actually cast our auras, because we have a way to throw them in the graveyard from the battlefield. What the deck is really trying to do is Rampage of the Clans. So Rampage of the Clans, for 4 mana, blows up all artifacts and enchantments, and then for each one that's destroyed, its controller gets a 3/3 Centaur token. So what we really want to do is cast our auras on our random creatures, draw some cards, make some wolves, do all that fun stuff, cast a Rampage of the Clan to get a bunch of Centaurs, and then we can Storm Herald to get back all of our auras from the graveyard, get in that huge attack to win the game. The other cool thing about Rampage of the Clans is we can get some auras in our graveyard, Storm Herald, and then all the auras that Storm Herald reanimates are going to get exiled, but we don't necessarily want them to get exiled. So we can then cast Rampage of the Clans to blow up all those auras after getting in our Storm Herald attack, but before our end step when they go into exile, to build some more Centaurs that way. Blood Aspirant, a little bit strange in the deck, but it gives us another way to sacrifice enchantments. It's just a 1 mana 2/2 that grows as we sacrifice permanents, and then we attack a creature or enchantment to deal 1 damage to a creature, and that creature can't block, so we enforce through some damage, but this gives us a way that maybe we throw some Cetacid Trainings and so forth on our random creatures. We have a Storm Herald in hand. Well, we can sack them to Blood Aspirant if we don't have the Rampage of Clans to set up for our big Storm Herald damage turn. Our other key engine in this deck is Cetacid Champion, which is really the card that makes this deck run. So in the early game, we can cast this and just cast our random auras to churn through a deck, draw a bunch of cards, find our Rampage of the Can, find our Storm Herald, and then once we Storm Herald and get back all of our auras from the graveyard, maybe after Rampage of the Clanning them into the graveyard to make Centaurs, we're going to trigger Setessan Champion a bunch of times along the way as well, make Setessan Champion massive, get a Setessan Tradings on it, smash it with this huge Trampling Champion to close out the game. Otherwise, Willful Haven just speeds us up a little bit, another enchantment to blow up with a Rampage of the Clans, and gives us a way to just ramp into our more expensive stuff, cast multiple things in a turn. Mana base wise, pretty typical stuff. Stomping Grounds, Temple of Abandon, some Fabled Passages, a bunch of basic lands. One Castle Ambreth is just kind of a free roll. Maybe we want to punch up our creatures with it once in a while. In the sideboard, Destiny Spitter lets us fight through counter magic, basically making all of our important stuff uncounterable. Shifting Ceratops, another big threat that has protection from blue, makes it uncounterable and a good target for our auras. And then we have some removal options. Omen of the Fire gives us a shock that's a little expensive, but it comes out of enchantment, so we can later blow it up with Rampage of the Clans, get a Centaur out of the deal. Lava Coil, a Crow in War can yoink a creature, maybe even get in some damage, and potentially wrath the board depending on the board state. Thrashing Brontodon, Return to Nature to deal with our opponent's artifacts and enchantments, and that is the ridiculousness of Rampaging Storm Herald for Standard. And that's better It's a Deck Tech for today. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.